What's going on, everybody? It is Dakisha Williams, your host of the Profit Producers Podcast, and I am excited to be here with one of my longtime friends, business besties. We go way back in this
almost 10 years.
Girl, yes. So that means that we need to have a 10-year celebration. Because I think it was 2013. So 2014 is when it kicked in for me.
No, it was 2015. So we got one more year.
Okay, so we'll celebrate next year. But
I mean, we can celebrate this year and next year.
Okay, I'll take that too. Okay. So what's going on, Dr. Nadia?
Oh my gosh, not much.
Okay, right. You're looking cute and stuff. Let me find out.
Thank you, girl.
Next time I'll put some lipstick
on your podcast.
Well, I'm excited that you are here. You focus on a topic that a lot of people shy away from. A lot of people shy away from. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I always have to start. How in the heck did you get there? Like, sales? Like, that's just not, it's not a sexy thing, right? Like, I mean,
it can be.
I don't even want to put you on blast, but let's just say this. This is the second podcast where my guest has evolved, where they were starting to do one thing, whether it was leadership, corporate, and then evolved into like marketing. And I think we were talking, she does quizzes. So you've evolved.
I have.
Tell us where you started and how.
I started in leadership. My doctorate is in leadership. And I started there doing leadership training, coaching corporate women. Eventually a couple of the business ladies started tapping me on the shoulder like, hey, we could use some, support too. So I wrapped them in the fold. It's funny because you are one of the few people that actually were part of my evolution. Right. So, like when we met, this is not at all what I did. I hated sales when we met. I needed sales support. And it was actually that. So there was a coach and mentor who invited me to do some support on their team. And this is the funny part. And I always tell people this. I had no idea I was going to do sales. No idea. Our original conversation this was how it went. This is at least how Nadia heard it. They may have think they said it a different way, but this is how I heard it. We're going to hire you to support us in looking at organization and leadership and things that we can do and yada, yada, yada. In my area of expertise where I felt good, I was like, I can do that. And in addition to being compensated, you'll get some sales coaching and training because obviously, like I just said, I hated sales. So I needed that. And I was like, that sounds like that's fair. I can handle some coaching. Yeah.
but look at you became a beast at it though.
I did.
Like you became a beast at it. And
it was an
somebody that didn't like sales. And here's what I love. Like, this is what I love about Dr. Nadia, y'all. If y'all ever heard her sell, you don't even realize you being sold to. Like, you buy a whole $1 million estate. And be like, where did I get the money from?
But that was the beauty of it. It was just like, I'm going through my thing and I'm a super ultra nerd, hence all my degrees. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to come in, I'm going to do a great job. And like it was a running joke between me and my mentor. I was like, I'm going to be your number one student. Like that is the mindset I had. I did come in thinking that I was going to be like the sales person. Mm-hmm. I was just like, I need to learn how to sell because, I want to serve more people in my business doing what I was doing. And I was just like, I'm just coming in with my pen and my notepad. And that was just, the mindset that I had. And I would just talk to people. So
11 o'clock calls.
Girl, yes. Be on 11 o'clock. With the time difference, it was never that late for me. Well, it might end up being 11 for me. But
listening to these calls, coaching.
Girl. So yeah, I went from listening to the calls and then training on the calls. But the evolution was truly accidental, in my opinion. Like I did not set out to be a salesperson. I was just like, I just need to get these skills. So I'm just going to show up and be a good student. And then I just started having conversations and I would talk to people and I would ask questions. And I'll be
But
like,
it's
oh, we
funny.
can help you with that if you want our help. And they'd be like, sure. And I was like, oh, okay,
She's like, and what's your credit card?
right.
But and then okay, so then the next phase of it is not only did you evolve from leadership, right? I mean, that's
Mhm.
innate, like that's in you. You can't take that away from you. But not only did you evolve from leadership to sales, then you went into high ticket sales. Like for me, that's two totally different things. Like sales is sales is sales, but to specialize in high ticket sales, do you feel like it takes a whole nother unique skill?
No.
Explain
Honestly,
to me.
because I've sold, and I know people usually roll their eyes at me and they're like, Nadia, you're
I
full
know
of
what
it.
you're going to say. Go ahead and say it.
But it it takes just as much work to sell something lower ticket as it does high ticket. It's really about asking the right questions, helping people see the gap. Now, obviously, there's the obvious in that, right? Not everyone can afford high ticket. So
Right.
you do have those
Absolutely.
like legitimate concerns around investment. But when in terms of your actual skill set, if you
Mm-hmm.
can sell $1,000 offer, you can sell a $25,000, $30,000 offer. You really can.
So do you think it's easier to sell a $50,000 than it is $497?
I won't say easier in terms of, I guess it depends on what you mean by easier.
Because
I
I mean, okay, so I get to hear both sides of it, right? And again, we sold, you know, multiple five-figure deals. Okay, so okay, cool. However, I think you've sold maybe higher than that.
Mhm.
Um, but I get to hear both sides. So I get to, I got a connection with you. So we chit chat. But I also have access to people who are like, oh my God, it's like pulling teeth trying to sell this 497 program, this 997 program. I hear that. I mean, you probably
Mhm.
do too.
I've
So
been there. And like, I still sell. Like we still do some support for clients. And there are times when we're doing both. There's one event we did last year. We sold a $20,000 offer. Fine. And a 497. And it really, because the 497 was the after the event, the
got it.
downsell.
Okay.
To those people who couldn't afford the 20,000. So the 497 was kind of my back
God,
pocket.
dog, y'all went from 20,000 to 497.
But it was like a fraction of it. It was like the 20,000 like a year long. It was really, it's that particular offer was really involved to like 497, like 5-week training. That was it. You out. So
Peace.
we gonna give you just enough and you out. So
Yes.
so in supporting that client, it's funny because sometimes in the work that I get to do, I get to see the patterns. So when you
Mhm.
support different clients and you see like, and you do this too, right? So that particular year we had changed it because the downsell of prior years just wasn't selling. It just
Wow.
wasn't. So this year we were like, what do we have to lose, right? She's like, I'm going to do this anyway. So it doesn't matter if the people come or they don't. Like, right? It's going to happen.
Mhm.
So that particular year, the first time we did it, we dropped it. Well, the first time we dropped the price, I should say. And they sold like hotcakes, right? So I can't remember how many we sold to her, 20,000, whatever, right?
Mhm.
Thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever. Who cares about that part? Because this part was the part that was broken. We couldn't figure out how to fix it.
Okay.
And so this first time we dropped the price to 497, we sold 18. Like those puppies just went.
Wow.
So we were like, that's it, right? Right? Did it again later that year when she did her event again, 20,000. We sold however many we sold that. Come back with the down sell, thinking clearly we gonna sell out 15, 20, maybe 8, 9.
What?
So it's not, so when you hear the other side,
Right.
it also, you have to look at who you're talking to, whether it's
Yep.
497, 20,000, 50,000. That's the part that people often miss.
Mhm.
Who are you talking to? So when you feel like I'm talking to people and it's like pulling teeth,
Mhm.
then something is broken in the process. It could be what you're saying, but at 497, I mean, that's not super high ticket. I wouldn't call it high ticket at all.
Yeah.
And so it's like, who are you talking to? And do they see the value? Do they have the urgency? Do they, you have their buy-in? Like, what are some of those questions that they have? But that's true for even at a 20,000. It's the same thing. Do they see the value? Do you have their buy-in? Do they have a sense of urgency around, and not urgency like creating false scarcity, but urgency like, I just need to fix this problem now in terms of where they are in their business or in their lives. And so it's a people part too.
Right.
So you have
Absolutely.
to look at audience, and you talk about lead gen. So it's not just creating a whole bunch of leads because people are breathing. It's, are you creating the right leads? And are you having that particular conversation at the right stage in the client journey? All those stars have to align to make it work.
And I like that, and this is the second time I'm having a conversation about the client journey. So is there a specific price point, or do you think there should be a different price point for where the person is in the journey? Like in the ascension model, or?
Yeah, it depends. So if you're doing the ascension model, then definitely I think there are different places where people buy in. Some people flip it and they start high. So like I said, we started high. Other than buying a ticket
Just
to the
drop the
event,
floor out
the
of
offer
it.
was 20,000.
It's
And
like,
then
oh
we were like, oh, you
20,000,
can't handle
boom,
20,000, then maybe you handle 497, right?
right.
So it really depends on the model. I think that's part of it. So you have to look at where people are, and then also like, because some people do want to take a step. They're like, I want to take a step, a baby step. And again, baby step is relative. Baby step could be $97. Baby step could be $10,000, right? You just, depending on how your business is set. And then when you make that invitation, I think more so in looking at the client journey, it's how much information have you been sharing and educating your leads on and your prospects,
Come on now.
and helping them to really uncover what's going on with them and how you provide that solution. So as you're looking at your connections and your nurture, really starting to educate people so they can understand, oh, wait, Dakisha has the solution to my problem. And then what do I need to do in order to be able to actually take advantage of that particular solution? And that's part of the challenge. I think the other thing is when it comes to pricing, and that's why I'm a little like, I don't want to say like pricing for sure, for certain, just because there's a lot that should go into your pricing, because you don't want to price it so low that now you're losing money and you're actually basically paying people to work with you. So when you look at your pricing needs to make sense for your services and your business. And then you look at, what do I then need to do in order to educate and equip my leads and prospects so that when they engage with me and have an actual conversation, when they finally do raise their hand, they're a lot more ready to move forward. Sometimes we jump the gun and we're talking to people a little too soon in the process.
Well, and I don't want to discredit the fact that $497, because I know people are probably listening like, dang, you went from 20,000 to 497.
They're like, Dr. Nadia, back it all the way up.
Right. I know they're probably like, hold on, let me go revamp my whole business. Hold on. Because I'm very confident, and I don't even know this person. This is the first time we talked about it, but I'm very confident that was a identifier, kind of like when we do like if you're doing a sales call and you qualify them, that's a qualifier. If they invest the $497, that's a qualifier. So you know that they are your number one. They're probably your ideal client, and at some point they're going to convert into the other program when they're ready.
Absolutely. So we love qualifiers, even if you host events, because you do live events too, right? If you have different event ticket levels, your VIP, that's a qualifier. Like when you're looking at all the data on the sales side and marketing side, those are all qualifiers. And then we ask questions. Like, we're just not out here all willy-nilly. Like, people fill out questionnaires. We get to know who's in the room. We're taking that time during the event to build relationship and connection and rapport. So it's not like I just show up one day and I'm like, okay, so this investment is $20,000. Like, again, even within that, even though that part of those couple days is condensed, there are things that are happening before the event starts. to really get people warmed up. There are things obviously that happen after the event is over to continue the conversation. So
y'all.
Right. So it's just not, I know I'm talking about like that one little microcosm, but there's so many things that we do ahead, during, and after.
You're selling $20,000. You working real hard. Okay. You working super
to really,
hard.
build a relationship, to qualify the room. So again, there are different things, and not everyone does event models. So if you're not doing an event model, then what are you doing to qualify? So before people get on a conversation with you, ask a few questions. Do your homework. Go out and look at their, website or Instagram or whatever it is that's going to give you that information. And what information can you also then provide to them so that they show up to that conversation more prepared to have that conversation, to really understand how you can help them solve whatever problem it is that you solve.
Come on. So tell us, okay, so we got a whole lesson wrapped up into one question, okay? So tell us something that you're working on that you're excited about in your business.
Oh my gosh, we're working on something. I feel like we're doing too much all at once, but that's Nadia.
And listen, but you know what? Us Sagittarius, that's how we operate. If we won't doing it too much, we wouldn't be doing it right.
We got this, we got that.
That's right. That's
there are two things that I'll share. One, we're kicking off a new series, Master Sales with Dignity, Class, and Grace. It's a 5-part training series to really help you hone in on, one, overcoming the fear. Yep, there's the book. So we're adding a series to go with it. Pricing, because that's always a big one. Like, how do I price this? So we spend a whole session on how to price it profitably, because I want you to, when you sell it and you work in to actually walk away with profit, that's the worst feeling in the world. I was working, I don't have no money to show for it, no matter how much it is. And we can come back to that, put a pin in that one. So then we have that particular series. And then we're also working with teams. I'm working with founders to help them get out of being the sole salesperson. Because one of the things that I truly believe is that, especially those of us who have micro teams, everybody on the team is part of the sales team.
Come on, you better teach.
They may not have the official sales title, but they're part of the sales team.
As soon as we finish recording.
So I've been working with founders and their teams and training them, and in your role, here's how we need to look at things and do these and ask these questions or whatever that may look like. So I'm really excited about that. We've gotten to work with a lot of different fun firms that I never thought I would work with. So that's been really cool. So those are two big projects that are.
No, and I love that you said that, because when we did a year-end call, so I honestly have like 3 or 4 VAs. But you know that some of them service our VA company as well.
Right.
And that's one of the things for that we want to concentrate in. I don't care if you're just writing emails. You need to be able to sell through the emails that you are sending. And even if you are client facing, I want everyone on my team to be able to recognize a need that whoever they're communicating with, recognize that need and position them to either become a client or move up, upgrade, upsell into something else. And I am very, I look at it like this, and I hate to be kind of straightforward about it, but y'all got to pay y'all own bill.
And actually, it makes sense, though. I think sometimes when we are growing and scaling, we look at, hiring team, and we don't necessarily add KPI around revenue. Like, how do you contribute to a revenue goal? And I get, for each position, it obviously will look different. For a salesperson, it's going, the numbers may look different. Right. But like you said, being positioned to be able to even ask the questions or position or plant seeds, like all of that is sales. People usually put sales in that one conversation where I say, okay, Dakisha, the investment to work with our team is $37,000. Right. And that's the only part. And it's like, no, sales has been going on and continues, like you said, even after. You're like, yes, okay, I'm in. We are still in a sales conversation because there are other ways that we could potentially work together and serve the client. I think people, when they hear sales, we usually go, like you have all this negative connotation. But it's really about service. Like you said, if a VA is reaching out and we're having a conversation and I mention a need and you're
Like,
like,
oh, we
oh,
got
we
that.
can help with that. Like
Yeah, we got
literally, that's how I got started in sales. I would be like, oh, we can help with that. Like just as green can
Listen,
be.
okay.
I wasn't thinking about sales. I was like, our team as a solution can help you solve this particular problem. I didn't come
Absolutely.
into the conversation like, oh, I'm going in here and I'm going to sell $18 million.
No.
Like that was never my
Nope.
approach. It
Nope.
was like, I'm talking to Dakisha, I'm asking her questions. We over here giggling and having a good time. Because Toby laughs all the time when he's home and I'm on sales calls. He's like, girl, I thought you were in there talking to one of your friends. I'm like, she's my new friend now.
You my friend.
Right. Because again, it wasn't about, so it comes, your mindset has to shift.
I love it.
And it's looking for and asking those questions. So even on the team, a VA, even if she doesn't close it, she can ask
and I'm cool with that. I am cool with that. Set me up. Set me up for the rebound.
Yep. Because then even if you're still the closer,
right,
you're only talking to the most qualified people. Exactly. And that's just going to improve your close ratio because your team has done all the vetting. They've helped tee it up. Everybody's kind of bounced it around. And that person is like, okay, they come ready. Like, how much? Just charge my card on file or whatever the case may be.
But see, you said something. Just charge my card on file. Well, I'm going to tell you, the biggest lesson in the last 18 months that I learned, the best client is your current client.
Yes. And most people treat their current clients like redheaded stepchildren.
Your best client is your current client.
Too many gurus or whoever I hear.
Let me tell you,
crazy.
And that was one KPI that I wanted my average client to spend over $1,000 with me.
Mm-hmm.
An average of $1,000. And that means, okay, you might come in and buy the $97 a month. You might come in, you might buy $3,000, but it's only 90 days. But if you renew, your average spending for 12 months will eventually be $1,000 a month. It will average that. And I'm going to say this, and it's on podcast now, right? So watch this. You have some gurus that's out here selling $40,000 programs, right? That's a one-hit wonder to me. Like the chances of re-enrollment are probably kind of low, my opinion, right? However, and I said this to someone, I said, I would rather bring you into a 3,000, 5,000, whatever, enroll you into a 10,000, 15,000. At the end of the day, guess how much you still spending?
Right.
You still spending the same. But your renewal increases. You stay with me longer. And you develop and you get the results. So which one you want to do?
And we have to look at our models.
Yep.
And then when we have to deliver. That's the other. It's one thing to sell, but then there's the delivery part. We've seen that fall apart.
Are we talking about an operation system, client delivery?
Right. Okay. That's what you call the Keisha team. Because I've seen it fall apart. So all these things work together. But like you said, people come in, and I think when you have that mindset, I've been guilty of that. I've been like, look, I ain't trying to work with you forever. I'm gonna teach you how to sell your stuff, and you going on. And then there are cases when that does make sense. But then there are other cases where it's like, where are other opportunities where someone on the team, it may not be me, but as the team grows, there are other ways and other people that can serve the client, but it still stays in-house within the agency. And so there are opportunities. This episode
has been brought to you by Your Outsourcing Club, www.youroutsourcingclub.com. If you need any task in your business delegated, all you got to do is go to youroutsourcingclub.com. That's a perfect example of it don't have to be Dakisha, but it can stay in the agency. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Exactly. Right. And I think that's part of, you brought up something really important though, Dakisha, because it's also part of shifting from solopreneur mindset to now CEO, whether you lead an agency or you serve in a different way, right? So it's like, how do I stop being the sole solution provider all the time? And when you start out, typically you are it. You are every woman. But as you grow, who else can I bring in to still be able to service the needs of clients, and what are the, what makes sense. So I think that those are definitely things that, like for our agency, I'm not a coach. Now I know there are those out there who might listen to this who will disagree with me, but I will argue down. That's not my jam. I used to do it.
I mean,
I used to claim that title. I have relinquished it. However,
but if I needed you, I would call you and I would be like, okay, invoice me. I need some coaching. I need you to walk me through. I got this new program. I need you to walk me through.
That's not where I'm going with this conversation. And
I'm saying, but I'm like, but would that be coaching or would you give me strategy though?
I would probably do both. Strategy and a little bit of coaching. A little bit of strategy with a little bit of coaching on the side. Okay. But my point though is
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to figure out, are we a strategist? Okay, so go ahead. Where you going?
So I identify more as a strategist and a trainer. Yeah. Like that's where I feel like I really jam out. Those are my strengths. Mm-hmm. But my point in saying all of that really wasn't about me being a coach and whether or not you can call me to get coaching. She just over here flexing, right? The point was that as an agency, now that we have an agency, a client could come in and work with me on strategy, consulting, etc. Like, for example, we train a team. They may need and would truly benefit from having ongoing coaching support. That doesn't have to be Nadia. Right. I can hire a coaching team that can come in and provide that particular deliverable, but it's still within the agency. So those, as you're continuing to grow your business, what makes sense? Like you said, there are things that you're outsourcing, right? That arm of your business does, but you don't do it personally.
Heck no. Oh, no, man, I'm sorry. I had a moment. Go ahead.
I can't with you. I cannot. Okay. What's the next question, Ms. Keisha?
I'm sorry. This is good though. No, I'm gonna tell you the bad part about it, which is good, is I am literally sitting here as I'm thinking about changes, and you already know. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. Yeah, we already got this. We finna have a team meeting.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I love that you said agency. I'm gonna be real transparent because I'm gonna make a post after this. That's one of the places that I have to walk into and step into and own.
Ooh, it's on the podcast. It's recorded.
It's here. It's live. I said it now. And it wasn't until, and this is not my interview, but it makes sense. And I'm gonna ask you. We're gonna lead into the next question. But it wasn't until I had one of those moments. I was like, man, forget this. I'm about to throw all this stuff in the trash can. Let me pull out my resume. And I updated my resume, Nadia, and I looked at my capabilities and like where I am. And I was like, so you got 4 companies under one umbrella? Mm-hmm. And you trying to get somebody's job? Mm-hmm. You're not looking for a resume and be like, yeah, you did what? You want to do what? Yeah, nobody. So, and it's an agency, and I come to the point, I'm saying it in front of you because I know you're gonna hold me accountable. Mm-hmm. I am going to step into and walk in an agency, and here's why it's been difficult. You hear the guru saying, be like a stamp, stick to one thing until it delivers. Right? Mm-hmm. You got to niche down and you got to be an expertise in this.
They say it.
But who's to say that I can't own a publishing company?
Right.
Who's to say I can't?
It makes sense. Especially if you're working with authors.
So I reached out to our bestie and was like, I want to partner with you. She was like, no, you don't. You're going to have your own publishing company. I said,
because that's how she whirls.
I said, so you don't want me to send you clients? She said, no, I taught you how to do it.
Can we pause and talk about that particular bestie real quick?
Okay, let's talk about her live on the podcast. Come on.
Because, so going back to your first question about how we got all the way, how I personally got here was partly because of her. She was like, she called me one day, Dr. Nadia.
That sounds right.
What are you doing? Like, she was like, you cannot sit on this gift. Because I was like, well, I'm done with my role with this team. I'm gonna go, focus on my business or leadership. It's like leadership is nice. Like you said, that's in you.
Mm-hmm.
That's innate that, people get the
You
leadership.
can't change that. You can't take that
But
away.
you cannot, you cannot sit on your ability to train people in sales. So then, being who she is,
what's she do?
She was like, so how about you train my team? Hers was the very first team that I trained on sales.
I
Then
remember
my husband came behind me, but her, because I was telling him about it. She was like, I want you to train my team. I want you to write me a conversation guide. I want you to do all these things for me. Great. And I was like, oh, okay. And you know me, I'm like, I deliver it. I'm all excited. So then I'm telling Toby about it. And he's like, so whoa, let me get this straight. People are asking you, because I wasn't offering it. It was not an offer. She literally called me because she knew that this was something I could do. Called me. So she was like, so people are calling you, asking you to help them do this. I was like, yeah. And he was like, and you're having a good time doing it. And I was like, yeah. And then he said, and they're willing to pay you. And I was like, yeah. And he said, and you're not out here doing this because you're afraid or worried about offending somebody?
I'm confused.
I was like, I don't think I want to talk to you anymore, honey.
And look, and I still have my conversation guide.
Right.
And did. Mm-hmm.
So it's really, so I would also add to this conversation.
Our business bestie.
Girl, our business bestie was on it. She the reason the Courage Diary even exists. Yeah. She called me up one day and was like, I know the devil is a lie. You're giving us away for free. Absolutely not. That ends today. So you need people in your circle to really see you. Right. And that now we got a whole book, a journal, training series, all these things. But it really started there when I was like, I just need to learn how to do this. I need to learn how to do this in a way that feels comfortable to me. Mm-hmm. And I had people in my community, in my circle, my inner circle, who were like, girl, bye. You will not sit on your gifts.
And every time it comes up, you are the first person that I call.
Every time. I know. Girl, we need to talk. Okay, what's going on?
Yep. Listen, I'm trying to tell you. All right, so since I got the inside scoop to all of this good knowledge, this is the Profit Producers Podcast. So one of the questions is, I always like to get one question or one strategy that they can implement right now in their business. So what is one profit producing strategy that entrepreneurs can implement right now to improve just sales? I was going to say high ticket sales, but let's just say sales.
They're not going to like this answer.
Uh-oh.
Pick up your phone.
I knew it. You make more money when you pick up the phone.
I'm sorry. I know. Even I sometimes are like, well, can't I just write an email series? Pick up the phone, talk to people. And again, this doesn't mean, because again, people hear that and they're like, oh, Dr. Nadia, want me to just pick up the phone and start cold calling people and selling them stuff? No. Even if you pick up the phone and just start telling people what you do. Mm-hmm. Like when I made the shift to the agency, I was like, I started with one offer. So that that was hard for me, Keisha. I had coaches like Nadia.
I'll be like,
focus for 7 minutes, please. But I did. I was like, I just had one offer. There were things that we did to test it, but I had one offer to start. And I just started talking to people. I reached out to people. I scheduled conversations, and I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. And if you know of anyone who could benefit from my services, then please feel free to refer them to me, and vice versa. Like, I'm always connecting people, so I don't feel bad when I reach out to people and say, because that's what I do. I'm like, oh, Keisha need this person. I'll send an email in a minute, right? And then I'm gonna add this bonus. When you do that, already have your little blurb, 2 to 3 sentences to make it easy for them to connect you. Don't make it hard for them to connect you. And that's how I got my first couple of clients. Literally people were like, oh my gosh, this person I know, or I have this client that needs you connection. And so I think that when we sit in our offices, I know I'm guilty of this to this day still, Like I had one of my coaches literally just tell me to do my own stuff this week. So I am not above anything I share with you. She was like, Nadia, do your people know what you shifted to? And I was like, oh no, they don't. So I will be picking up my own phone and taking my own medicine.
Lord,
But I know this works.
okay.
And it was really letting people know and making it easy. So I would, like, hey, if you don't mind, I'll send you a quick email. That way when they could copy paste. Oh, I know Dakisha needs Nadia. Now here, warm email. Nadia, Dakisha, this is what Nadia does. I'm out. Happy connecting. I do it all the time. So on the flip side, I need to make sure I make it easy for people to connect me, just like my people make it easy for me to connect them. But it starts with me picking up my phone.
There you go. You heard it here. All right. So as we transition into the kind of the latter part, this is kind of the fun part for me, because even though I know you on a personal level, everyone doesn't know you. They see you, beautiful pictures online. They think your life is just beautiful, all that, right? Tell me one thing that most people don't know about you.
Oh gosh. One thing that people don't know about me. I'm actually really shy. People don't believe it, but I am.
Can y'all see my facial expression?
I know.
I'm gonna let her ride with that answer. Okay.
I'm truly an introvert to the core. But
I'm gonna let her have that. All right. So when was your last webinar workshop?
Ooh.
Come on, now, it's the webinar queen. What you thought?
I know. I have fallen. I have one coming up next week, so we'll go with that one. I haven't had a workshop in a minute.
She said I got one coming up. Okay, all right. We're gonna let you slide on that. We're gonna let you slide on that one too. Okay. She got all the answers. So what book are you reading right now?
I am reading. Well, one of the books, because I'm reading a couple. I'm reading a fiction book and a nonfiction. So the nonfiction book that I'm reading right now is Who Not How.
I think I heard of that.
Yeah. Is it on my desk? I think it's on my desk. Yeah, it's right here. Who Not How.
Okay, hold on. Dan Sullivan. This is how I be getting my book recommendations, y'all. Right. So if you want to know the strategy behind that question.
Yep. Because it's like, look, and I think you'll definitely enjoy that, Dakisha, bit. You're already doing a lot of it, but it's like, how do you grow? Because a lot of times it's entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, when you're making that shift, it's always like, how do I? And it's like, who else needs to do this?
Oh, I love that. Oh, yes. Ooh, let me Audible credits. Here I come. All right. So what genre of music do you like?
Ooh, that's a fun. I like R&B. I really like 90s because that was when my coming of age years.
Come on. Okay.
Yes. 90s R&B is my jam.
We got a lot of R&B folks in our circle. I love it. All right. Well, let us know, how can we connect with you if we need some help with our team, with some sales, high ticket, low ticket, mid ticket.
I know, right? So we do have kind of like two different things we're kind of building over here. So if you have a team already, or you're ready to build one, then definitely check us out over at thedoyenagency.com. Schedule time. Let's talk about how we can best support you. If you're like Dr. Nadia, I'm not there yet. I don't even know if I'm ready for high ticket. Don't worry, girl. I got you. Head over to selllikealady.com. We have a bunch of different resources over there, training series. So if you can't join us for the training series live, we will make the recordings available. So you'll be able to still get that support on that side. So either side, we got you.
I love it. And thank you so much, Dr. Nadia, for coming to the Profit Producers Podcast.
Thank you for having me. This was good.
Yes. And so if you are tuning in, regardless of what platform you're tuning in, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because we are releasing new episodes every single Wednesday. And if you need consistent leads in your business, you can see the link www.createconsistentleads.com and watch our mini training. And then you can schedule an appointment with someone from our team to talk about how we can help you create those leads in your business. I'm going to sign off right here. My name is Dakisha Williams, your webinar strategist. Be passionate, be purposeful, but more importantly, be profitable.